So let's move into our next segment, the Orlando Magic. We're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic and their outlook now for this season, with Paolo being out for just over a month. It has not been pretty in the 2 games that he's missed. The offense has been absolutely horrendous. I've got shout out Kai, a Discord member, DMing me about they need to fire the coach and they need to get rid of him and he's a fraud and maybe he should try calling a play. And then I respond with maybe your GM should try to sign a playmaker. I was like, what? You go.
I just want to throw something out. Kai, I love you. Love all our Discord members. But I just find it funny. Kai used to be a Cav fan. He's going to go back to being a Cav fan now. Cavs are good now. Cavs are 8 now. I'm sorry. They just won today. We going to go back to being a Cav fan?
Oh, no.
No, he won't be. I guess Ricky, I'll go to you first.
Yeah.
First. Overall concern level with the Magic, and I guess this is with or without Paolo, because if you're, the question would be more. I was gonna say how concerning is how limited they are once they miss one player.
Thunder, Pacers, Pels. Then you get the Wizards, which should be fine. Hornets even without Paolo. Then our Paolo. Pacers, Sixers, Suns, Clippers. You'll be fine. Lakers, Detroit. No, you might not be fine with the Pistons this day. And then Hornets, Bulls, Nets to end your month. Yeah, that first start of the month, Thunder, Pacers. You get the Pacers again, the Sixers again, the Suns again. If I don't got Paolo out there, how bad yet again, you can overcome a bad month, but if you have a terrible month and then you don't course correct that or have a really good January or really good February, we might be looking back at this and going, wow, they could have been a seed or two higher if they had Paolo in November, because this is not the easiest of months for an NBA schedule.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, do you think maybe it's similar to the Embiid situation last year where they were bone in top 6 team, he gets hurt and they fall into the play-in? Is that kind of what this month in November can do to the Magic?
It definitely feels that way. And again, their roster is built on him and Franz carrying the offensive load so heavily, and I think I'm trying not to do it. I'm trying so hard not to say it. And what has been really disappointing for them to start this year is their big offseason pickup in KCP has just not been able to find his shot. Defensively, he looks pretty good still, but offensively, if he can't be knocking down shots, it's like we had Gary Harris last year. We don't need Gary Harris 2 on our team as well. So I think that, generating offense for them is going to be a bit of a struggle. Obviously, it's time for Anthony Black to continue making additional steps. We saw Tristan da Silva pop off the bench in one game. They gave him enough of a green light to, hey, let's put this guy in the starting lineup because we're down guys. Let's try to change things up a little more. The fact that he leapfrogged a couple of their previous draft picks, hilarious to me, because obviously as a Bulls fan, I'm always going to be a hater on the Magic. So just put a little tick next to that box. But
Vucevic's playing well.
Vucevic's playing better. What's up? But yeah, no, this is a team whose offense was predicated off of 2 guys, and obviously we're in a situation with Paolo out. Somebody else has to step up. My thought was Anthony Black. We'll see if they can run more of a traditional offense with him and Franz being more ball handlers. I mean, Suggs hasn't been okay. I can't even say he hasn't been good. He hasn't been great. He's just been.
He had one really good game.
Okay.
One really good game where he had 28 something. It's the first game Paolo missed. They still lost, obviously. But it's and this is my problem. And if you're in the Discord or you're not, please join down below. I said it over and over again when I was talking to Kai. Is I was extremely disappointed with their offseason because while getting KCP is wow, great piece to get. How much does it actually improve them in the margins? Because as soon as Paolo goes out, who's the creator for that team? Suggs is not a primary creator. Franz is not a primary creator, and they're trying to force him to be one. And then Wendell Carter Jr. has been hurt and bad the last about a year now.
Who could have thought Wendell Carter would be hurt?
Well, yeah, we knew that. Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
But it's just and then you look at their bench, and Anthony Black has been taking the next step this year, but Cole Anthony's been awful. Jett Howard, I don't know what he's exactly going to do in the NBA right now. And then I don't know. They pay Suggs a lot of money. They pay Franz a lot of money. They're going to pay Paolo a lot of money. They paid KCP a lot of money. It kind of brings it back to what I said to Kai in the offseason. I think that KCP might be a trade piece either this summer or next year at some point, because that kind of salary is very well easily moved around with the new CBA, and it's easy to match contracts. But like I think they need two more ball handlers. I don't think it's one. I think it's two because it is just so much pressure to ask a guy like Paolo to be your initiator, primary creator, and your primary scorer for everything. Like, and if Fran's shot is going to be questionable at best sometimes, it's been a little bit better this year, like mechanic wise, not make or miss wise, but like mechanic wise, look better. There's just, I think there's a problem with the team construction and roster construction that they've gone. And I like Tristan da Silva a lot. I like when I did my short kind of draft read up, I really liked him. But again, he's a good guy, but to have on the roster, but doesn't improve what they need to in the margins. And I don't know. Suggs is a very interesting player to me because I know Retro loves him and Retro is bigging him up this year. But I think it's very hard to build with him as your one, just because when your one can't create at any really sort of level for other people consistently. He does it every now and then. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's clearly not. But I don't know. It's just kind of hard, and he has to improve. I think Jalen Suggs is kind of the answer. Like where he improves is how far this team's going to go, because he is obviously an elite defensive guard. You all know that.
Yep.
His shooting has gotten way better than I thought it would because he still shoots it really weird sometimes. And he's an okay finisher around the rim, but his creation for others comes and goes between games and between like week to week periods. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, like, this is a team that like, if this is a weird question, but like if you take Jalen Suggs off of this team and put Dennis Schroeder on, I feel like they're a better team simply because of the profile mix.
Yeah, I'm reluctant, but I think you're right now, because of how well Schroeder has run an offense for multiple different teams we've seen. And it's kind of disappointing. Like, I feel bad admitting it. And like, even as a hater, sometimes it's just like, yeah, that they're asking too much out of guys who, square peg round hole. It's just a little frustrating. And what's interesting to me, and I think this was like somebody on Reddit, I can't even tell you if it was confirmed or not, was talking about, they're like, would they think about going and like signing Markelle again? And somebody said, I think his knee is cooked. And no, I'm not sure if that was, officially reported anywhere or whatever, but like, if you were, the Magic right now and you were like, hey, we need another ball handler, would you think about it if he was healthy?
I would.
He's familiar with the team.
Yeah, I know he's familiar with the team, but I just listen, as a Sixers fan, it pains me. I think Fultz is just it's a vision of the past, if I would say. I think clearly the knee is injured again. He already had the shoulder injuries earlier in his career. His play was not great last year.
No.
It just doesn't. I think you got to go a different direction, and I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is for them right now. But you got to find a way, and it is a little bit on Mosley to find a little bit more rhythm in the offense. You're going to be without Paolo for at least a month, so adjust, right? It's kind of the same stuff I've said with the Sixers. Is like, you can't look this bad without your best two players and then expect it just to come together whenever they come back. You have to be able to adjust. And I know that you built your offense one way to have Paolo as the hub and Paolo as the ball handler. He's out now. So find a way to win. Find a different way to run your offense. And some players got to step up. I don't know who that exactly is. It's got to be really Franz and Suggs.
But I was gonna say it's one of those two guys, and we're throwing a prayer out there that Anthony Black can make a massive leap this year, but I don't know if that's realistic.
Here's a question I have, and this kind of goes way back, Jake, to what you said at the very beginning of this. If this injury forces the Magic to, let's say, just like the Sixers, where you're the 7th seed, you have to play through the play-in. Let's say they have Paolo for the play-in, they win that first game. Are they going to be in the same situation? Like, let's be honest, the ref screwed you guys last year in that Knicks series, but it's like, are they going to have the same story that as a Sixer of whoever they play in that first round, whether it's the Cavs, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Bucks? Those are kind of the teams that we expect by the end to be up there. Whoever they play in that first round, are they just going to lose to them? Because it's like, wow, it would have been better if we had Paolo, didn't have that bad month. We could have been up there, could have played a team like, the Bulls or the Hawks or whoever one of the bottom like 6, 7, or 8 teams were.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit, especially looking at this year, right? You look at the Sixers, and I've said that I don't think seeding matters to them. It's because they have 3 top 30 guys, and if
Yep.
they're healthy,
Right.
Hmm.
then it's different. The Magic have Paolo, who's amazing and probably and definitely is a top 30 guy in the NBA. Franz was, but I don't know right now if he is because of his play. It's
Hmm.
just and like the Bucks, I'll say the same thing for the Bucks. Like I'll talk about them later, but like they have 2 top guys still in the NBA. So if they have the power to get this right at any time, where it can switch. The Magic don't really have that power because outside of Paolo, I don't know about Franz. Franz is or was an all-star level player last year. Now we'll see this year if he can continue it, but it's not like it's see this is people like make it like I don't overreaction or generalizations, but
Mhm.
like Franz is a good player, but
Mhm.
in his age he should be elevating himself every season. And right
You've been
now,
really upset with the poor play from Franz at the beginning
I
of this
love
year.
Franz, and it's
Yeah.
just been like it's supposed to be stagnant play from him, and there's
Mhm.
been no improvement. So like my whole thing is right if they're gonna build their team and Franz and Paolo have to be the 2 main playmakers,
Mhm.
that should click in Franz's head and be like, okay, I know what I need to work on then this summer. But it looks like he's come back as the same player who's just trying to fix his jump shot that wasn't broke 18 months ago. So it just I don't know. The Magic are a very 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 confusing team to me, and I don't know what the right move for them is, but I think
Mhm.
it's going to take a bit of luck for them to win a playoff series this year, and that's going to be coming up against a team that's probably injured.
Probably. I do think the upside though is this is still like an incredibly young core,
Yeah,
and we're talking about like a team that's already has one playoff series under their belt. That they can like look, we're building towards the right answer. So
Mhm.
I I do believe as far as pieces go, like they're still sifting through that roster. They've got a lot of guys who need to perform. Whether it is the guys like Caleb Houston who've been on the team for I think 4 years now, Jet Howard. We were very critical of him last year being almost entirely in the G League, and then kind of when he came up, it was spot minutes and like very hit or miss. Um, and again, lots of investments in young talent. So I think the expectation shouldn't be like, they need a high seed because, that way they can, whatever. Yeah, if they have a high seed, they could still get maybe just the second round. But, it is another growing year for a very young team in my mind. Like, the goals for this team should just be like, we want to see that growth out of, Franz as far as being a playmaker. We want to see growth out of Jalen Suggs as far as running an offense and more consistency in his shot. Like, you should be like bullet pointing like individual like key growth for this core. Like, how about find an offensive play style when Paolo's not on the court? Like that should
Mhm.
be you got a new checkbox you got to hit this year. So I think being realistic, because I know Ricky, you're not wrong with the whole like they're just gonna go into the playoffs and get like smashed if they go up against
Mhm.
like Boston again, or even New York maybe.
Well,
So
what if they're the 7th seed and they win, then they're the 7th seed, right? And
yeah,
then
they play the
whoever
two
wins,
seeds.
so they would
yeah.
play the 2 seed. I mean,
But like,
at this point, right now, if we're not with overreactions,
Right.
it's either the Celtics or the Cavs.
if they're playing the Sixers in the play-in, do you think they're beating the Sixers in the play-in?
No.
No.
It
That's
depends
then they're
Oh,
on
gonna fall.
what, dude? What if? What if?
Oh, here we go. We got the tinfoil hat.
Yeah,
First of
yeah,
the season.
tinfoil hat. So, what if game 1, like the 7-8 game, is Sixers Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Then the 9-10 game has the Bucks in it. The Bucks win that. They have to then play the Bucks the next game. They're not going to beat the Bucks either.
But like, I think Dave, your point is valid. With the like, I don't think the criticism's fully on the players because I think they have a lot of talented players.
Mm-hmm.
It's the GM that worries me, and Kaya has been like adamant. It's like this is how he wants to build his roster. I don't know if he understands the profiles then because you need playmakers. You need guys who can initiate and can ball handle, and they just don't have enough.
I mean, Tristan da Silva was a smart pick as far as getting
Yeah.
someone who can be a plug and play wing, who is a smart player. He is a capable, like, secondary creator, kind of like a Kyle Anderson style player, but just
Yeah.
with a more rounded game as far as being a 3-point shooter. So I'm not terribly like upset about that, but the fact that
That one was
again
fine.
they didn't address a point guard, and like we're all just like, cool. That means you have 100% faith in going into next season. Anthony Black is your point guard to back up Jalen Suggs as your point guard. Like you have like 110% faith in that, and I haven't seen that up to this point, and now we're going to have to see that or else kind of a situation. Or maybe Jet Howard's going to magically remember how to play point guard from his Michigan days.
That's not going to happen.
I'm not putting money on that.
Jet Howard's going to be a net within like a year.
Wow.
Because Jawan's on that. His dad's on the coaching staff.
Good point.
I just like, it worries. The Tristan da Silva pick was fine. I liked him. That's a fine pick. But then if you're going to pick him, then why spend 20 to 23 million a year on KCP, who is fine, like is good, like, but it was very evident playing in when he won the title in LA, when he won the title in Denver, his role was limited. He's going to play defense. He's going to shoot threes, and that's it. That's his role, which is fine because the other thing is this team desperately needed shooting in the offseason. So they went out and got KCP, which is good. But it feels like maybe you spend that 23 million split into 2 players and you get a guard and you get a shooter. You know what I mean? Like,
were there 2 players who could do that? I know the class is pretty limited.
I could go back and find people. Yeah, I could go back and find enough people. But just like, I don't know. It'll be interesting for me to see. It's not, their season isn't over or anything by any means. It's just like,
no,
I'm interested that it might actually be beneficial for them in the long term that they go through this month, because now you see where are deficiencies, because a lot of the times the star players, when they're playing, can hide deficiencies on your rosters that you don't see until you get to when the games matter later in the year. Mm-hmm. But now you see we have a severe ball handling issue.
Can I ask a question that none of us have actually talked about this guy?
Sure.
What?
Is Cole Anthony
I said him.
Thing?
No, okay, I said it. Okay, yeah, he stinks. He's awful. He's awful. He's been awful this year.
What happened?
He can't shoot.
He was supposed to be,
Yeah, he can't shoot. Like, his shots don't go in. I'd like the simplistic analysis that I can give you is he can create his own shot, but he can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, he's terrible defensively. So where do you go from there? It's I guess we'll see in the next month. Any final thoughts, guys, on the Magic? Anybody else we did not talk about?
No, not that I can think of. I just think that the Magic are, before the Paolo injury, I didn't think they'd be a team that makes it out of the first round, and I definitely do not think they will make it out of the play-in if Paolo's hurt. Yeah, because of seeding.
He'll be back.
Or what if he gets re-injured again, you know?
Yeah, but
re-injury can always happen.
Everyone in the East is hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everybody besides Boston.
The
Cavs.
Yeah, just the Cavs.
No, but they even have Strus out. They even have a player out. And LeVert. Well, that might be,
short, but
what did Norm Powell say? Addition by subtraction.
Norm Powell been awesome this year.
They're going to trade him for Levine. So all right.
As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.